For Willa Thomas and her children, a flooded street provides an opportunity to have a little fun. But what's inside her home is anything but fun. Thomas has become increasingly frustrated with continued flooding problems.
It's been 2 years since I've had to deal with this, but this time it's bad because it's still rising in my basement.
Hancock County has been working on a plan to mitigate flooding, but it's been a slow process that might have been hampered by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers.
It's a bureaucracy, and so we had a federal project, and things move at a federal pace, and now we have a local regional project that's moving more at the speed of business as we've kind of contracted an engineering firm directly.
Robertson says they've learned a lot since the first major flood hit nearly 10 years ago.
Well, we've learned we've got a very resilient community, but a community that continues to grow impatient with the ongoing flooding issues. I'm sure as you get out and meet and see the impacts on businesses and residents in our community and even the ag community with crop loss, it continues to be a point of frustration for our community. It's a project we have to continue to work towards.
The city of Findlay is also seeing major flooding. Main Street was completely closed as floodwaters reached their crest Friday.
I don't know that we're going to see the massive amounts of destruction that happened in 2007, but clearly this particular flood has been a transportation nightmare and has caused some disruption to business and residents alike.
In Findlay, Sam Shriver, Your News Now. A memorial is unveiled in Harrods Veterans Park to remember the 74 men who lost their lives when the HMS Melbourne collided with the USS Frankie Evans in the South China Sea June 3, 1969. 4 of those killed were from Ohio. One of them was from Lima, Larry Allen Gracely, a sonar technician and a Shawnee High School graduate. Dean Wise survived the incident.
I was in the after part of the ship and immediately thrown out of my rack and through the air and up against the bulkhead.
Wise says he remembers Gracely.
I knew Larry Gracely fairly well. We talked about Lima, Shawnee, and we're in Northwest Ohio sports and that, and I knew Lima, Shawnee from districts and sectionals and stuff like that.
Memorials like the one in Harrod are being placed in each state that experienced a casualty. This memorial stone is the only one in Ohio.
It really is quite significant that the crew chose this park in Harrod, Ohio, as opposed to perhaps a state memorial, to have this monument placed here.
Paxton says it's important to remember the lost 74.
I think it's important to remember everyone who lost their lives in service to our country. If we don't remember our history, we don't know who we are. And if we don't know the sacrifice, then what we are becomes less important to us.
In Harrod, Sam Shriver, Your News Now.
I got a $500,000 development going on. I got new campsites, new projects. Good for you. I got new docks going. I want Grand Lake to make it. So stop the pollution.
Buzz Goodwin owns several properties around the lake, including Cozy Marina. He says he's seen business decline since the toxic algae problem surfaced in 2010, and he's not seeing enough progress being made to clean up the lake.
We're waiting on Mother Nature to fix something that man has caused, and it's time to clean this mess up. People's property values are bad.
Jerry Weber of Cincinnati inherited a lake house just before the toxic algae problem started.
Part of the inheritance, I had to, pay for my portion of the house, and the house was appraised at $200,000. Of course, then the big bloom hits, and everybody finds out that this algae is really bad algae. And I don't know what the house price is worth, but I'm guessing, just look at other people's homes, it's probably cut in half. It's probably $100,000 now.
LIA President Tim Lovett says fixing the problem isn't easy.
Everybody wants it done like now, and that's not going to happen. It's just not going to happen. We don't have the science to do what we need to do.
Weber likes what the Lake Improvement Association is doing and has sympathy for other property and business owners that are affected by the toxic algae.
This is a long-term problem. This lake has been getting in this condition over the course of probably a century or more. And now it's not going to happen, and it's not going to get fixed up overnight. But I think over time we will make it better.
At Grand Lake St. Mary's, Sam Shriver, Your News Now. It's a curious match. The longtime head of the Republican Party, Keith Cheney, speaks before the Allen County chapter of the NAACP. Cheney was the keynote speaker at the organization's annual Freedom Fund Scholarship Dinner. Cheney's running against incumbent David Berger in a nonpartisan election in November. The event had more of a campaign feel than a scholarship dinner.
You know, my platform has been from the very beginning a better Lima for all. And the opportunity to be the keynote speaker at the annual banquet of the NAACP is certainly a delightful opportunity to be able to share my message.
Reverend Ronald Fales, the head of the local NAACP chapter, has been critical of Mayor Berger, especially after Berger refused to recognize Fales as the organization's leader due to Fales' convictions of soliciting a prostitute. We asked Fales if Cheney's appearance was something personal between himself and Mayor Berger.
It's certainly not a personal attack. We as an organization do not fight anyone. We fight for everyone. And our focus has been very consistent from the time we reestablished the chapter until now, and that is, how can we as an organization use our influence to benefit our community for the good of everyone. And we'll continue to do that. Whether he chooses to engage or not has no bearing on the work of the largest civil rights organization in America.
Almost lost in all of this is the winner of the $500 scholarship given out by the NAACP. Natasha Petaway is a Perry High School graduate who hopes to become a teacher at her alma mater.
Anytime there's anyone to help people achieve their dreams and goals is always a good thing.
Petaway will be attending OSU Lima, pursuing an elementary education degree. In Lima, Sam Shriver, Your News Now. Victoria Dowling knows a bargain when she sees it. The Finley woman was in Salina Saturday checking out the bargains in Lakeshore Park as part of the US 127 sales. She spotted a small table and chairs and knew she must have it.
I think this is really cool. I enjoy this a lot. And my son, God love his soul, is taking his mother. So it's always nice to have help.
The US 127 sales not only give property owners along the garage sale route a chance to make some money, but also bring in vendors. For Amy LaCrone and her mom, it's their first year selling at the event.
We just like to go to auctions and to yard sales and take things to our homes and see if we can make them beautiful again.
So, how has business been?
It's been steady. We've had a steady day. It's beautiful weather, not too windy like yesterday, so it's been steady.
And as the Dowlings try to figure out how to get their purchase home, their thoughts are finding that next bargain down the road.
I think it's really nice. I want to do this again next year. Yeah, I would, like I said, I would love to go even farther because I know it's all up and down 127, so we'll see how far we get today.
Cities all along the US 127 corridor are benefiting from the sales. Over in Van Wert, motorists even resorted to parking in the middle of Washington Street. I guess anything for a bargain. Along Route 127, Sam Shriver, Your News Now. There's a place in western Mercer County near the Ohio-Indiana border where a man collects things. If you've had a car, you've had one or two of these. Meet Kevin Geiger and his collection of license plates from all over the world.
Well, I have them literally from just about everywhere, all the states. Like you can see the ones from Ohio, and then I have them from like 27 different countries, different places I've been, or different places where I picked them up at like yard sales. I just picked one up the other day from New Zealand at a yard sale over in Coldwater.
What is displayed here on his garage walls and ceiling is only about 10% of his collection.
Right, I have a bunch that's in the attic, but basically it's, I think the last count I had was 79 milk crates full, which is about 100 to 125 plates in a milk crate.
His most prized plate, this Illinois plate, which is part leather and is worth around $1,500 or even higher. So what does he intend to do with all these license plates?
Eventually pass them to the kids, and let them decide what to do with them, I guess. But I even have a few requests, believe it or not, from the kids, like the leather plates and some of the foreign plates, like where I was at.
So what does his wife think of the collection?
I think it's kind of neat, and I mean, you could spend money on worse things, so I'm fine with it.
In western Mercer County, Sam Shriver, Your News Now. He goes by the name of Gromy. It's been that way since his days as a clerk at the old Mine Dust Music. He now owns Gromy's CDs and tapes. He's seen it all: records, 8-tracks, cassette tapes, and CDs. But it's the vinyl record format that is seeing a resurgence.
It's been incredible, just especially over about the last 7 years. It started snowballing around then. But lately, the last 2-3 years, it's for every one CD I sell 20 records.
The average age for record buyers at Gromy's is 20. It's clear that millennials are just now discovering the format.
So these kids want to discover Cream. They want to discover King Crimson. They want to discover some of these obscure 60s, 70s, 80s classic rock bands. So that's what a lot of them are buying. They'll come in and even not even classic rock, even some top 40 stuff. I have to realize that I'm old when a kid comes in and buys a Billy Joel record. I'm thinking, how can you not have this already? Oh, because you weren't alive.
People can't pick up a relatively inexpensive turntable and hit the record stores or the local Goodwill and find something to listen to.
I mean, it's scientifically proven that vinyl sounds better in any format. It's not as convenient. You got to show them some love. You got to take care of them. And it might be, I don't know, the hipster thing. I don't know. It might be, well, you talk to people that read books. They like the paper. They like to hold it in their hands over a Kindle. Most of them do. Same way with records. It's that tangible item. It's the big artwork. It's the liner notes. It's you crack it open. You got that smell of a new record. It's just, and these kids are digging it.
In Lima, Sam Shriver, Your News Now. For Lima senior grad William White, his life changed in 2016 after a routine medical exam showed he had Lou Gehrig's disease, or ALS. White appears to be symptom-free as he attended an event at the Met Thursday night.
I didn't even know it, but it was some twitching that was in my arms and neck and stuff like that my doctor noticed when I went to my annual physical in October. So good thing I had a good doctor who was a Buckeye, so he was able to put me in the right hand. So again, I can get diagnosed at an early stage. So my long life, I still see, I think they say it's between 18 to 24 months or something like that. And I keep telling them, no, you mean 18 to 24 years.
Next month, White will undergo a new treatment that will hopefully slow the progression of the disease.
It's something that was tested over in Japan. Our FDA approved it. Actually, they said quicker than they ever approved anything. And it's really for a person like myself that has an early diagnosis to slow it down. So I'm kind of very interested in getting it started and getting the word out for others that has been diagnosed with it.
We asked White if he thought that his ALS might have been caused by playing football.
There's like 70 or 80 people that's in Central Ohio that goes to the clinic that I go to for ALS, and I'm the only one that played in the NFL. So you can't say it's just that, but I'm quite sure with the playing and all that other stuff, that's probably could be something that relates to it. But again, with the disease, they don't have a cure, but they also don't know how it's originated or starts or anything else. So to say it's only because I did that, can't say.
In Lima, Sam Shriver, Your News Now. For Brooks Sousa, pulling this 30,000-pound fire truck is no easy matter. In fact, for a while, it didn't look like she was going to be able to do it. But let's go back a few years to find out how the Columbus woman got this far.
In 2012, I was pretty overweight, so I lost 115 pounds first. And, doing what all females know is, starting with the cardio and, all right, maybe I'll take some group fitness classes, and that's pretty much what I did. And then someone told me I couldn't run, so in 2013 I did one of each race, finishing with the marathon. And then 2014 I was just kind of like stuck in a rut, like what do I do now?
Sousa decided to get involved in the strong woman competition, and as a professional did pretty good at the most recent Arnold event in Columbus.
Did pretty well. Placed 6th as a pro this year without zeroing every event, where last year I zeroed every event as an amateur and placed 13th. So a lot of progress in 1 year.
Sousa has won Arnold competitions in both Africa and Europe and has qualified twice for the world's strongest woman competition. She's using her display of strength to encourage others to reach their fitness goals.
Thing is, go after, something, set your goals high, and I feel like if you have a goal, then you're not just stuck in a rut, and always working towards bettering yourself. And you find yourself during those times of, all right, I may fail today doing a lift, but tomorrow's a whole new day, and get right back at it. Taking time for yourself to, stay healthy is my biggest thing, because as an overweight child, so right now it's, having a goal to keep me in shape and not revert back to where I was before.
From Russell's Point, Sam Shriver, Your News Now. System of stream monitors that help forecast when the next flood might happen. A team from the United States Geological Survey was in Ottawa Saturday to calibrate their stream gauges and take real-time readings.
We're out here trying to determine how much water is moving through this point in the river, and we use a device called an acoustic Doppler current profiler and a handheld flow meter.
Accurate readings help the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration predict when flooding might occur and how long it could last.
So by providing data to NOAA and exactly how much water is going through the river, they can then make the determination not only for the village of Ottawa, but people downstream like Kalida to expect how much water at any given time.
Crawford was taking readings on the Oak Street Bridge while his partner was checking the stream flow in the areas that cross the street. Crawford says it's important for them to keep the stream monitors calibrated.
So the gauge is calibrated every 2 months. We have a normal trip. Someone comes up here, makes a discharge measurement, and determines the stage of the river by a mechanical meter that doesn't change, and then we calibrate the instrument there. We also have daily reporting online that if anything shows off, we then send a crew up.
In Ottawa, Sam Shriver, Your News Now. When it comes to the toxicity problems on Grand Lake St. Mary's, many are blaming farmers. The Our Land, Our Water 2017 farm tour took us to the dairy farm of Dave and Gina Schmidtmeyer, just southeast of Coldwater.
Yeah, I milk about 150 cows right now. I got 3 robots. End of the month will be 3 years since I've started them up, and I'm real happy with them. It just gives me more flexibility, more time to be with the family.
While at the farm, people could see the Schmidtmeyer's dairy operation and see other demonstrations.
We all want clean water. So at the end of the day, I think whether you're a lake person or whether you're a farmer or you're just a citizen within a city, we all have a responsibility for clean water, and we all need to do our part, and we all need to get educated. So I think this is really important to get educated on what happens on the farming end of things, and then, we're throwing some other bonuses in there as well.
So have farmers gotten a bad rap when it comes to the blame game over the toxicity of Grand Lake St. Mary's?
I think it's unfair, personally. They've done their part, and honestly, back in the 80s, we weren't as well educated as we are today about what manure means and the advantages of manure. So yeah, there have been problems in the past, but they've really stepped up in the last 15 years and made the changes that are necessary, and they're very aware of what they need to do to continue to protect water quality.
In Mercer County, Sam Shriver, Your News Now. The media locked out of a discussion between Hancock County Commissioner Brian Robertson, township trustees, and county engineers. It's a discussion that's needed after most recent flooding caused problems not only in Findlay, but in township neighborhoods.
I think we're doing some good. We've had this thing studied for 10 years now, spent a lot of money, and that's the way things go. I think maybe we're now getting it back into the more private sector, and maybe we can get something done.
The 2017 flood definitely created some new concerns, and renewed concerns about problems they knew were already there.
Well, we looked at key transportation areas. That's the #1 priority in terms of making sure we're not shutting down transportation corridors. We also looked at high residential areas that had impacts on several residents in terms of drainage issues. So that was kind of a categorization. And then we also looked at the watershed itself in terms of the Blanchard, Eagle, and Lye Creek in terms of cleaning and how do we go forward with the next river maintenance project in a way that's going to better meet the expectations of our rural community while certainly helping to remove debris from those waterways.
The discussion yielded several ideas which are being developed into an action plan, which could be considered as early as Tuesday.
I'd like to present that action plan to the Board of Commissioners as a whole, and that way we can kind of have some public discussion around it and then start trying to knock some projects out and get some things done for our residents.
In Findlay, Sam Shriver, Your News Now. John and Lucy Winters, year-round campers from Columbus, have settled down at their campsite at Grand Lake St. Mary's. They travel around the country staying at various campgrounds, and they really like the campground here.
It's a very, very nice campground. Like I said, it's clean. It's well taken care of. The people are friendly. The people that work here are very friendly and helpful. And we like being close to where we can get on our bikes and go to the grocery store and get some, buns or whatever. So we like that part too.
As you might expect, the campground is full with the exception of a few walk-up sites, and some campers who didn't have reservations like this one are just out of luck. Many people plan a long weekend, given the 4th of July falls on a Tuesday this year.
Yeah, that's exactly what they're doing. The way the holiday falls in the middle of the week, so they're coming in tonight. As you can see behind us, we've got a bunch of campers already in. But the majority of them will come in tonight, and they'll be here through the holiday, and then some of them even extend to the following weekend.
Baylor says things have been going well for the campground this year.
The season's been going great. We've had, I think, 3 weekends now that we've had full camp, and we've had just a lot of people show up. One of the things at Grand Lake St. Mary's State Park that's so nice is it's a very quiet park. We still have close to 200 sites, but the clientele that we have are mainly families, so there's very little partying, and everyone seems to love it here.
At Grand Lake St. Mary's, Sam Shriver, Your News Now. Sunday afternoon at the Anglaise County Fairgrounds. Still a busy place, getting vendors moved out and the place cleaned up. For Fred Peel, this is his last event as fair manager. He's retiring after 25 years on the job.
I thought about 10 years ago, and then we kept having a few more projects come up, and they wanted me to stay on. And then a couple years ago, I really was serious about it, and then we went out and started looking for a new guy to take over, and we found the guy, and I think this is the time.
Taking his place is Jack Hazlett, who's been learning the ropes.
Well, it's funny. It's similar to Fred in that I just feel like it's somehow in my blood. I thought that it was a great to have this week of the fair. But what I have found since I've been here is that it's not only the week of the fair, but it's 51 weeks out here at the fairgrounds with lots of different events that many people probably don't even know about, and a lot of preparation. And you take a lot of pride in knowing that at the end of the week, it was a great fair for everybody, and you helped provide them entertainment.
This fair served as a transition for Hazlett.
Over the last year, I've been able to learn a lot of things from him, and he's been very gracious in telling me everything he can think of that will help me do the job going forward.
Planning on next year's fair has already begun, and if the new fair manager has questions, Fred Peel is always a phone call away. In Wapakoneta, Sam Shriver, Your News Now.